Victorians love the coast. From the 12 Apostles to seagrass meadows, from mangroves on mudflats to kelp forests, our coastal land and marine waters offer nearly 2,000 kilometres of some of the world's most spectacular coastline. And we really appreciate what we have. But the latest research shows that there is a risk of loving our coast to death, along with some important insights for managing the coast. This research was conducted by the Victorian Coastal Council in partnership with the Department of Sustainability and Environment. It investigated community attitudes and behaviours to help guide how the coast is managed for Victorians. Here's a little of what we found. There's general agreement that our coastal and marine environments are one of the most important natural features of Victoria. But with nearly 300,000 Victorians considering moving to the coast in the next 5 years, there are challenges in managing this precious environment. The research shows we want our coastal towns to keep their character and not develop into a Gold Coast of the south. And we want the coast to remain a clean and unspoiled environment. One way Victorians want to protect the coast is by developing inland rather than creating a continuous stretch of development along the coastline. Another way is to increase housing density. What we love about the coast and want to protect is our coast's atmosphere and scenery. We want to protect the features that draw us to our favourite places: Phillip Island, Sorrento, Lorne, Torquay and Apollo Bay for walking, hiking and swimming. Most Victorians now think addressing the effects of climate change on the coast today is really important, even if it is expensive. Victorians believe climate change is causing sea levels to rise, and we recognise the likely impact this will have in terms of coastal erosion and flooding in low-lying coastal areas. What is not so well understood is what a 1 metre rise in sea level would actually look like and exactly what the implications might be. There's also uncertainty about who is or should be responsible for managing the risks of climate change on the coast. However, we're clear about one thing. We want the government to provide solid information about the risks and potentially some laws too. 77% of Victorians say that planning laws should limit development in coastal areas likely to be affected by rising sea levels. Along with managing coastal development, research shows that Victorians think a healthy marine environment is important. Victoria was one of the first places in the world to establish a comprehensive system of marine national parks. Victorians generally have a very high awareness of our marine national parks and a reasonable understanding of their importance. This brings us to what Victorians think of the current management of our marine environment and coastal areas. The research confirmed most Victorians think the coast is generally well managed, but the percentage that think this has declined in the past 5 years. However, we're willing to work to protect our coast. 1 in 3 Victorians would like to get involved with coastal volunteering work. This latest round of market research, combined with scientific and stakeholder input, will help guide how Victoria's coast is managed. The Victorian Coastal Council will continue to stay informed about what people think of marine and coastal environments. Managing the coast on behalf of all Victorians is something that can only be done well if we know what Victorians want. We now have the insight, and the actions will follow in the next Victorian Coastal Strategy. And because our lifestyle and future prosperity depend on it, we'll continue to work hard to make sure that Victoria's coast is protected. To find out more about what Victorians think about our coast, visit the Victorian Coastal Council's website.